Turn off your lights. Make sure your doors and windows are locked. Things are about to get spooky. Her car wasn't there when I left. It should have been physically impossible to miss it. By holdedor. I've read a lot of glitch in the Matrix stories here, but I never thought I'd have one of my own. Well, until today. I'll try to explain this as clearly as I can, because it still makes no sense to me. I live with my wife in a small apartment behind my parents' house. In front of both houses, there's a shared courtyard where we park. The yard narrows towards our private gate that leads to our door. I usually park closer to the street, and my wife parks directly in front of the gate. There's no place for two cars to move at the same time, and no blind spots. If her car is there, I can't miss it. Timeline. 1:39 p.m. I go to the little laundry house, shared space a bit away from the main house, to put my clothes in the washing machine. Our outdoor camera records me leaving the house with a laundry basket. The camera only shows our door area, not the yard or the gate. 1:42 p.m. My wife arrives home with our 10-month-old daughter. The camera records her coming from the opposite direction, the one that leads from the yard and the gate, and enters the house, meaning she had already parked her car, taken the baby out, and crossed the yard. 1:45 p.m. I come back from the laundry room. The camera records me passing in front of the door and walking towards the gate to go back to my car and head to work. I open the gate and step out, close it, and the yard is empty except for my car. My wife's car, which should be parked right in front of the gate, is not there. I remember this clearly because I walked in a straight line to my car. If her car had been there, I would have had to go around it. I got in my car and left for work. Minutes later, my wife texted me a photo of our baby sleeping in her crib. I assumed it was an old picture from earlier that morning, maybe from a short nap before lunch. So I replied asking if she had slept long. My wife answered, "No, she's just staying asleep after I got home. I carried her from the car still sleeping." I then asked when she got home, and she says, "Just before you left. I even thought it was strange that you didn't come back in to give me a kiss." When I got home, I checked the camera footage again. Me leaving for the laundry at 1:39, my wife entering the house at 1:42, me passing back in front of the door at 1:45. The timestamps are exact. The camera is Wi-Fi connected and synced. There's no other way into our property and no angle where I could have missed the car. And physically, two cars can't cross in that space. My wife says she parked in her usual spot and even noticed my car still there when she arrived. But when I walked out, her car simply wasn't there. It's been bugging me all day. If it were a timing issue, a delayed video, or bad memory, I accept that. But the footage matches both of our recollections perfectly. The only thing missing is her car. Has anyone ever experienced something similar? I don't know whether to laugh it off or question reality a bit. Whenever we play hide and seek, my dad never finds me in the old cupboard. It's always Mom who finds me there, looking all red-faced and hugs me with some keys in her hand. Glitched again. This time, there were people in the car. By Almost-Jaded. My previous stories involved me alone, hanging up in what seemed like parallel places. I have officially narrated all of their stories, so you can check them out.
This time, it was a much more simpler teleport incident. I'm now a full-fledged, full-time Uber driver. In previous posts, I have mentioned that I don't drive people, only food. This is now changed, and I also have a new car. And early this morning, I got a pool ride. Picked up and dropped off a few people. One of the passengers was going to the airport. One other passenger with us was going further out, so there was 3 people in the car, including me. Follow Paradise Road into the airport per navigation instructions. Follow the signs for Terminal 1. I do this over a dozen times a week, sometimes a dozen times a day. I look down on my nav out of habit. I know where I was going, and it tells me to turn right to stay towards Terminal 1. I remember noting that the nav seemed off as it was telling me to make a particularly tight right-hand turn, almost a U-turn, in a place where I knew no such thing being necessary. The navigation been acting up periodically all night, so this was a minor annoyance more than anything. I simply mentally rolled my eyes and kept going where I knew to go through experience and knowledge of the area. Mind you, I travel a lot for my other job, and I knew the roads in and out of McCarran really well long before driving for Uber. Now I just basically live on them. We're on the surface streets around the airport doing about 35 to 40 miles per hour. As I glance back up from my moment of being annoyed at the nav error, the back seat passenger, who's heading to the airport, says, "Did you miss a turn?" At that exact same moment that I'm realizing that between looking down at the screen and looking back up, we're somehow on 215 freeway airport connector, leaving the airport, going 55 miles an hour in moderate traffic. I immediately said, "What the hell?" And the passenger seat guy says, "Wait, where are we?" Kind of all at the same time. I'm looking at my nav again, and it's rerouting us out to an exit to loop back around to Terminal 1, which we've somehow completely missed, along with the other connecting roads between where we were and the freeway connector. I immediately began apologizing to my passengers, but then I asked, "Did I just blank out? Did either of you see a turn I missed or anything?" They both say no and seem kind of baffled. I'm kind of freaking out internally, but staying calm for my fares, just following routes back around, apologizing repeatedly. I can't stop thinking I screwed up, made a wrong turn, but they both insist that they're as confused as I am. The trip history map isn't really any help, as I can't really zoom in on it. It shows me looping back around, but the lines all overlap and I can't see where I may have missed something. But I must have missed a lot, because there's really no way to go from where I was to suddenly being on the connector. There's like a series of ramps and things to get to where we ended up. That would have involved me skipping all kinds of things. I started to think I had a memory lapse. I generally started worrying that I shouldn't be driving, but both passengers were just as confused as I was. I will openly admit to being very tired, but I wasn't dozing off at the wheel or anything, just the usual over-caffeinated end of a shift tired. Made the drop at the correct place on the second pass, completed the route, came home, went to sleep, woke up, and nothing is any clearer. "If there is no God, then what happens now, son?" my mother asked between tears as I succumbed to stage 4 and drew my final breaths. "There's nothing, Mommy, but I'm okay with that," were my final words to her eons ago that cursed my existence to this endless black nothingness. Everyone disappeared for a moment by Filino 30. This happened to me just a few minutes ago, and I'm still feeling weird about it. Returning home after I got off the bus, I called my mom to let her know I was about to arrive. I could hear my little brothers and my father watching football in the background. She was making dinner. Around me, some people at the bar, people walking around the street. Nothing out of the ordinary, really. Then, 5 minutes later, I arrived home and loudly said, "Hello, everyone," as always. Nobody answered. I thought, okay, maybe they didn't hear me, so I went to look for my family. The TV was turned on, someone was watching football, but the living room was empty. The kitchen was empty, but the lights were on. The bathroom had the light on too, but also empty. I looked everywhere, every single room. I started getting weirded out, but I don't know, maybe they went to my grandmother's in the other building's floor? I don't know. I swear the house was empty except for me and my pets. The cat was chilling though. But when I checked my balcony, this got even weirder. The street was empty. I could only hear the crickets and animals. No cars, no people. The bar was open, but I couldn't see people on the terrace, even though it had a couple of families when I walked past them. Scary. I went to my room because I still had my backpack on and I wanted to leave it, but honestly, I was starting to get unsettled. And then suddenly my mom appeared at my door looking surprised. The conversation went something like this. "You're already here. I didn't hear the door." "Where were you all? Nobody was here." "What do you mean? We didn't leave." "I said hi and nobody was at home." Weird. Maybe we didn't hear you." We looked at each other, super confused, but she changed the topic and I didn't say anything else. And yes, my father and brothers were watching football in the living room, sunken into the sofa like they never left, and the cars and people were turned. Everything was normal. No, I didn't hear the door before she came into my room. My room is right next to the house entrance. I would have heard it. I have no explanation for this, but it felt genuinely scary for a minute there. The silence, man.
I wish my dad would become a successful opera singer. I used my first wish on his lifelong dream. The monkey's paw curled, and while people praised him for being the greatest concerto of all time, I felt myself disappearing. Good Glitch by Nimaz. I stumbled across this sub the other day and just started reading the stories, thinking not much of it, until I recalled something weird that happened to me a while ago. It's nothing as crazy as some of the posts here, but it really bugged me and my friend. So basically, me and my friend B were in our last year of high school, and that day our teacher hadn't come to class, so we decided to hang out outside. There were these tables made of concrete, and I decided to take a nap on them. You know, when you lay on your arms, but I forgot my glasses were in my shirt pocket. When I woke up, they were totally messed up, like the lenses were dragged across concrete, which is sort of what happened due to them rubbing against the table. I recalled freaking out. These were expensive. My friend saw them and was just messing with me because my mom would totally end me. Needless to say, I didn't tell my mom and just went on life with the terrible vision and scraped glasses. Here's the thing, I don't know how long after it happened, But one day I was messing with my glasses and noticed there were no scratches. It was like they were brand new. So I FaceTimed my friend and she agreed with me that my glasses had been indeed messed up before, and she kind of freaked out when I showed her how they looked now. I know it isn't as weird as other stories on the sub, but I wanted to tell someone. At least my mom didn't have to kill me over having to buy new glasses. So it's a good glitch, I guess. Ice fishing is a dangerous hobby, and today the thing I was warned about the most happened. I saw arms knocking from underneath the ice. My older comrades warned me to never break the ice if I saw more than 2 arms, but I wouldn't be my father's son if I didn't try to help those 6 drowning people. My skin tag switched sides by She Isking. I feel kinda crazy even posting this, but I need to get this off my chest, and making the internet think I'm crazy versus my loved ones thinking I'm crazy sounds less terrifying. Basically, skin tags run in my family. If you don't know what they are, it's a colorless mole type thing that hangs off your skin. They can be pretty big, but mine are really tiny, smaller than the tip of a ballpoint pen. I have 1 under my boob, 1 between my boobs, and 2 on my neck. I've had them basically my whole life. The one on my neck has always been on my right side. I have always rubbed my fingertips over them and lightly gripped them between my fingertips and gently pulled them when I'm watching TV or reading a book. You get the picture. It's just one of those absent-mind actions. A couple of weeks ago, I woke up and the right side of my neck around my 2 skin tags was sore as my tank top straps been pushing pretty hard into them all night. I even remember telling my husband about how they were sore and that I needed to remember to make an appointment to get them removed. I've been saying that for years. I even asked him to take a look for me. He just said they were a little red, mentioned the skin tags. Totally normal encounter, acknowledged these things to have been on my neck for nearly my whole life. So anyway, since the area started hurting a couple weeks back, I've been messing with them a lot more lately. A couple days ago, I reached up looking to pinch them and they weren't there anymore. I was in the middle of something, so I thought I'd just touched the wrong area and didn't think about it until later that night when I reached up again and found the area completely smooth. Maybe I've just been messing with them too much and caused them to swell a bit and no longer appear as tags but just bumps? I don't know. I'm very strict on my skincare. AM and PM, I bring it all the way down to my chest. Imagine my surprise as I was rubbing this skincare into my neck and noticed 2 skin tags in the exact same spot, but on the left side of my neck. If they had been there before, I would have noticed when I was putting on my skincare multiple times a day, but they had never been there before that evening. I was floored. I grabbed my magnifying mirror and looked at both sides. For a second, I even doubted my own reality, thinking that maybe I had gotten it mixed up. So I reached up with my left hand to touch them like I would normally do with my right hand, and it just didn't feel right. Like, you know when you're used to doing things one way, that doing them a different way just doesn't feel right? Basically feels like I was trying to brush my teeth with the wrong hand or something similar. And I have to really adjust my body to get my right hand in the correct spot to touch them the way I did when they were on the right side. So it couldn't have been that. I'm sure people have a lot crazier stories than this one, and I'm sure people are going to read this and think I'm stupid or have lost my mind. Honestly, maybe I have. I don't know. I'm in my 30s, married to an engineer.
have 3 kids. I'm a scientist by trade, so I'm a huge skeptic. I own my own home. Like, I'm normal as hell. But this shook me to my core. I don't drink or do any sort of drugs. I take medications for seizures and a heart condition, neither of which are a controlled substance or could cause confusion like this. I also checked all my skincare products. Not a single one of them can be used to remove skin tags. They can only be removed via banding, freezing, and snipping. So it definitely wasn't my skincare diminishing them. I honestly feel pretty crazy right about now. The only thing I think of that would cause me to mix something like this up would be if I had a pretty large seizure. Anytime I've had one in the past, I've had pretty significant memory gaps. I'm epileptic, but I haven't had a big one in at least 5 years now, and there are no signs that I've had one. I would have bit my tongue, fallen and injured myself, dislocated a shoulder, peed my pants, and projectile vomit, and also would have been in immense amounts of pain for multiple days had I had one. There's just no way. Anyway, thank you for listening. It feels a lot better to scream this into the void. Edit. I did end up telling my husband, and he confirmed that they were indeed on my right side, and that he did indeed remember checking them out for me under his phone flashlight when I said they were irritated a couple weeks back. Most of humanity was disgusted after the world's government unanimously voted to make microtransactions legal. I now stand over my newborn son's crib while trying to make the agonizing decision to buy him the ability to breathe oxygen or the ability for his heart to pump blood throughout his body. Lost earring reappeared in my mouth by Strawberry Muffin 22. For the life of me, I can't remember if I already posted this here, so if I have, I'm sorry. So, background context. This happened in 2019, but the story starts in the summer of 2017. I was working at a dog kennel. I had these cute new earrings that were stud earrings with a rainbow gem on it. Very simple. Well, one day while I was at work, one of the dogs headbutted me in the ear, knocking the earring gem out, and it fell onto the cement. I picked it up and sighed because I was frustrated since I had just gotten these earrings, but I put it in my pocket to fix later. At the end of my shift, I took the earring post and gem out of my pocket and put them in my center console of my car, with the intention of fixing it later. Fast forward a week, I remember the earring in my center console and went to go get it so that I could fix it. When I opened it, it was gone, no trace. I looked in every crack and crevice, but I couldn't find it. This made me even more frustrated because now I couldn't even fix my broken earring. I accepted defeat and moved on. Over the next 2 years, I carried on life as usual, thinking about the missing gem once or twice, but mostly just forgetting about the whole ordeal. It's important to note that in these 2 years, I cleaned out my car and in the winter of 2017 began vaping, but I've quit since. If you know about box vaping mods, you know you have to regularly change the coils because they get burnt over time, and I've been doing that regularly. So fast forward to 2019, I'm driving while talking to a friend who's sitting in my passenger's seat. He says something and I open my mouth to respond when I feel something fall out of my mouth and into my lap. Immediately I assume it's a tooth since I have a massive fear of losing my teeth, and I pull over, silently praying I'm wrong. I pick the item out of my lap and it's the missing earring gem. To this day, I have no idea how that happened, and I'm still
absolutely baffled by it. To answer some common questions that people have asked me about this. Yes, I'm 100% sure it fell out of my mouth. I felt it in there the second before I opened my mouth. No, it was not previously in my mouth. Why or how would I have stored a missing gem in my mouth for 2 years? No, it was not lodged in my sinus the whole time. The gem was about the size of a pebble, so I would have definitely felt it. No, there was nothing else in my lap or the car seat that I could have mistaken for the gem. I had cleaned my car a week before this had happened, and I definitely remember there being nothing else in my seat or lap it could have been. No, it wasn't in my vape when I took a hit. It would have been blocked by the airflow, firstly, and secondly, I would have noticed since I had taken a hit of my vape a minute or two before opening my mouth to talk and didn't feel anything in my mouth. Plus, it would have been fully inhaled if it had been in my vape, and I would have felt that. My husband's twin brother was declared missing 3 years ago. I know where he is, but if that secret ever gets out, everyone will find out what happened to my husband. Was it a glitch or a ghost who found my lost keys? By Representative number 1787. About 3 years ago, I was working for a real estate company, and I lost my keys to the building. Now the deal was, if you lost a key, they had to replace all the locks and all the employee keys, and they would charge $1,000 to you for the inconvenience. Whether that was too much money or not is irrelevant. They wanted to deter people from losing keys. Anyway, my key was missing for a few weeks. Colleagues let me in during the day, and I was given an ultimatum. Find the key by tomorrow, or you owe us money. So the next day, I go to my car to go to work. My car is parked in the garage in our house. It's very secure. I live in Australia, so this is very normal. I open my door and realize I left my phone back on the kitchen bench. I shut my door, I go get my phone, I come back to my car, I open the door, and see in the middle of my seat is the key. Nobody was home. Nobody could have put it there previously. It's my car. Nobody else drives it. And I've been driving it for weeks. I don't carry a bag, so it didn't fall out of anything. It was originally attached to my car keys, so absolutely could have fallen off at any point. But that doesn't explain how it was just there on my seat. I very loudly said thank you because, I don't know, maybe it was a ghost or the glitch was watching or something. But I went to work and showed the office people my key and saved $1,000 in pain and suffering. I tell this story often because it still freaks me out. When the policeman pulled the car off the road, her heart doubled in rhythm to the thought that he might ask to check the trunk. The officer let go with a warning, and she broke into mute tears, still unable to kick on the lid. Do you think some people are more glitch-prone than most? By Almost-Jaded. I've been wondering this a lot lately, especially since I seem to experience these things more often than anyone I've heard of. I'm sure there are others out there that feel the same way. I've noticed that these happen to me in clusters, like I'll go weeks or months, at one point years, without anything obviously happening, or at least not that I noticed.
and then I'll have a spat of occasions in a few weeks. Could be that I have a brain problem, although some of these experiences defy that explanation. Maybe I'm sensitive to a different frequency. Maybe I'm a trans-dimensional being and I don't know it. Maybe I was bitten by a radioactive horsefly as a child. Or maybe it happened to all of us and some of us just pay more attention. I don't pretend to know. Do you? Please discuss.
"Honey, I'm home," a voice yelled out. "I'm upstairs," I responded, hoping he doesn't notice the body of his wife on the couch.
And with that, our time together is coming to an end. If you have a story you'd like me to narrate, whether true or fictional, you can send it my way 3 different ways. All the links are down below and in the show notes for you guys. And of course, I'd like to thank all the writers who let me read their stories this evening. I hope all of you don't have any more glitches. And on that note, we finally got through all of Almost-Jaded's back catalog of Glitch in the Matrix stories, and I double-checked their profile. They have no new posted ones from 2 years ago. So it seems that they're in another lull for quite a few years of no glitches, and truthfully, I hope they never get another one. Now this was a wide variety of different kind of glitches, like a gemstone appearing in your mouth from 2 years ago, a car that should have been in the way that wasn't and there was no way to miss them, lost keys appearing in your car just before you're about to have to pay $1,000 to fix the problem. I'm very happy they showed up on time. And suddenly realizing you're on a highway that you shouldn't be on at all, even with other people in the car. All these stories just remind me to pay more attention to the world around me. Like that black cat in the Matrix that just reappears and gives you déjà vu. I know I've said this before, but Glitch in the Matrix and paranormal feel very adjacent to me. Almost on the same line, just odd things that are hard to explain. I also want to apologize for the late upload. I have mentioned it before, but I broke my ankle just before Christmas, and with it has come more complications than I thought would happen. My ankle is mostly fine, but my leg is in quite a bit more pain, which causes sitting to be very uncomfortable quickly. Yesterday was a day where I couldn't even sit in my computer chair for more than 10 minutes before it became absolutely unbearable. So even with this late upload, if you enjoyed these stories, please hit that like button and make sure it feels it. If you're new, please subscribe and turn that pretty little bell to all notifications. And of course, I would absolutely love a comment. Put VIP in it so I know you got this far. If you're listening on the podcast and are able to, please leave a review and a comment. If you'd like to help this channel and podcast grow, please share it with anyone who might enjoy it. It helps quite a bit. If you're willing to help in a more financial way, I do have Patreon and memberships where you get some bonuses for it. If you'd like to do more of a one-time thing, I do have PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, and super thanks. As always, none of that is ever expected, just always appreciated. I always have and always will be appreciative of you guys tuning in and listening to the stories that I bring to life for you. Sleep tight and don't let 42 bite.